Alright, all packed for the trip, ready to go. Hey, what are you doing in there? That's not your bed. Should we go to bed? Yeah, should we have a sleep?
Yeah.
Big snooze?
Yeah.
In your bed.
By the way,
Oh, sweet.
we're going to Nelson Mandela. We're going to a town called Nelson in New Zealand, which is just over the river from the North Island to the South Island. So it's only like a stone's throw away. And we're going to be there for 2 days with no kids.
Yes.
But with our wives. We just happen to be parking the car. So this is the vlog intro. This is going to be exciting, so don't not watch it.
We're currently at the airport to catch a flight over the Cook Strait from Wellington to a place called Nelson, which will be our home for the next 3 days.
What do you think of that? You taxidermist or?
Yes.
And do you think that's
real?
That's real fur.
If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, there are at least 2 exciting things to look at in the Wellington airport. Smaug the dragon, with a real blinking eye, as well as Gandalf riding the eagles from The Hobbit, which is all a bit of harmless fun unless you also happen to be there during an earthquake.
The earthquake started off quite little and it felt like just a plane taking off, and then it got bigger and one of the ropes for the big bird snapped and it swung a bit, and then everyone went running past that way out the way, and then it just dropped. And at first people thought there were some people stuck under it, but there wasn't.
Luckily for us, the only shaking we had was some minor turbulence during our half-hour flight before we touched down in sunny Nelson. I even tried to be a cool guy and play my Switch on the plane, but it just wasn't happening for me. I was a bit upset, but not as unimpressed as this guy here. I made the joke before about this being a Nelson Mandela travel vlog, but then strangely enough, I saw my first effect. Our chief stewardess on the plane, he looked just like Moneybags73, who, if you watch my channel for some time, you might know I've had a bit of a dealing with before.
He looked just like Moneybags797. I was going to say Boogie 7298. Moneybags73, who's a Mandela Effect YouTuber, and we're in Nelson, which is named after Nelson Mandela. What? So these connections are crazy. Smoking is not permitted while specified. We made it. It's all foggy over there. It's a foggy Nelson.
None of us had been to Nelson before, so after securing a map and a car, we headed off to the city. Okay, Google classes it as a city, even though it gives off the impression of being a charming small town. I suppose when they built their 3rd countdown though, they had to draw a line and just say, well, this is a city. This is a city with 50,000 people, so we need 3 countdowns. I don't know why they have 3. So what is there to do here? The first thing that we did was head to a place called The Kitchen, and I had a squaffle. That's where you get a scone mix and you cook it in a waffle press. I like that idea. I've been thinking about what else you could adapt to this, like the falafel. That's really it though. Unlike the number of ideas that I came up for this concept, we're actually spoiled for choice when it came to food options in Nelson. And that's because Nelson has a culture of putting food trucks and caravans all over the place. I didn't really film any of these to show you because I didn't really want to be that guy that comes up to someone who's working and shove my phone in their face. You just have to come to Nelson and see for yourself. But it's really great. The other thing that we did was I took my first wee in the South Island for over a decade, and then I found out that they have these really funny signs in their bathrooms there. Had me having a bit of a chuckle. We filled out our first day by celebrating not having kids for the first time and actually doing real adult things like shopping for secondhand crystal, drinking a beer in the daytime, and getting tattoos.
You sleeping?
Post beer.
Post beer sleep. What kind of beer did you have?
Lager.
Lager.
A lager. A lager.
Is this just going to be really just a video of Ben?
Yeah.
I also really liked how the kebab shop next to the Last Port tattoo salon used important looking legal papers to write down your order on. It was a nice little touch there. We rounded off the first day by heading to a place called East Street for dinner, which was located on Church Street. Hey East Street, why the hell do you call yourself East Street? I have an idea. Why don't you move to East Street in Petone so I can come to you more often? That would be great because I actually love you, and I don't know why I'm so angry about this East Street being on Church Street business. But seriously though, their food is amazing. They have all vegan options, which is weird because their halloumi tastes and feels just like real halloumi. One of my favourite references on their menu, which by the way are all encased in like separate vinyl records, which is just a really nice touch as well. But it was a dish called You Do Win Friends with Salad.
You don't win friends with salad. You don't win friends with salad. You don't win friends with salad. You don't win friends with salad. You don't win friends with salad. You don't win friends with salad. Mom, I didn't mean to take sides. I just got caught up in the rhythm.
Despite this alluring name, I went for a Bok Bok Burger Queen and it was amazing. And the atmosphere at the place was really chilled as well. The staff were great, so great in fact that after a wee bit of a walk around town, we decided to come back for dessert and to wrap up our first day. For the second day, we decided that we'd visit the geographical centre of New Zealand, which sits on a massive hill just outside of Nelson City Centre.
Going the wrong way. Hey, you fancy a shag? You tripping balls right now?
Yeah, man. Nature, man.
Nature's a beautiful thing, man.
To get there, we followed a quaint little stream from the city centre, out over a bridge and past a football field, which is where the first official game of rugby was played in New Zealand. We also made a startling discovery.
It's Ben. Yeah, for sure. That is Ben. Do the pose.
Okay, so we've got here Central New Zealand.
That's you, man. Weird.
That's right, Ben has a doppelganger from like 2 centuries ago called Charles Monroe, who was the father of New Zealand rugby.
Maggie, the first game of rugby in New Zealand was played here.
Oh, that's cool. And now it's a soccer field. There's the first game of rugby. No, that's a soccer game. There's the first game of Duck Duck Goose.
Oh my god.
What other interesting facts have you learned about Nelson from this?
No, that's it, yeah.
Walls.
So far.
This is good content. We keep it coming. Just pick a paragraph and just read it.
No.
Band contest.
This hill was originally devoid of large trees and has gone through a succession of planting. There we go. There we go. There's the facts. That's interesting stuff for the vlog.
Vlog.
We got it.
After a little bit of calligraphy, we found a route through to the centre of New Zealand, and we were off.
How far is it to the top, Charles? I caught you out.
3 fathoms. That's the crow fly.
Before we knew it, we'd made it to the top, and we were greeted by a little monument to the centre of New Zealand marked with this little brass nipple, which I gave a little bit of a tweak there, and a stunning view of the town. I mean city. Following that, we headed back down to the Saturday market to forage for some lunch, where we were again spoilt for choice. The market was amazing, it felt like a festival, but these guys put this on every week, so you know, I could get used to this. After that, we headed over to Richmond, which is a neighbouring town, although it kind of just feels like it's all wrapped up as part of Nelson. There's a local supermarket chain throughout the region called Fresh Choice, which favours local suppliers and tells you where all the food's from, down to like how far away it is from the store. But the coolest thing in my opinion was their range of spicy sauces. After this, we headed to the beach for a quick dip. Despite the wind and the low tide and a little bit of murk, the water was actually like a bath and it was so damn refreshing. We also found out why people around here seem to be in a permanent state of beach body preparedness. And that's because they've got gym gear just set up around the beach like a playground.
Yeah, you work that machine. Oh, guys. Like riding a
Which is pretty cool if you don't mind looking like a bit of an idiot in front of everyone. After that, it was time to get spruced up and head to a local restaurant called Nam that does Thai infusion. Head back to East Street, which we decided had the best damn menu in town and just couldn't avoid going to a second time in a row. This gave me the chance to have the Pink Panther burger, and they improvised a dark and stormy for me that hands down was the best mix I've had in a long time. After dinner, we went out to the movies to see Aquaman, which I'm not actually allowed to show here, but if you want my review on it, the short version is there's way too many walls that blow up. I don't know if anyone else has seen this movie, but the amount of times that a wall just blows up, I don't know. After the film, we went for a little bit of a nighttime stroll, headed to a bar and had a drink, and then we turned in for the night. Oh, and one last exciting thing, I caught a cockroach in our room and I used a glass of cider and it started to get drunk. Just look at him go, he's alright. We rose bright and early on the third and final day of our stay in Nelson to yet another awesome breakfast at our accommodation, which was Grandpain's Bed and Breakfast. I'd recommend that you make Grandpain's a must for accommodation when you go to Nelson, but you can't. Well, you probably won't be able to by the time you see this, and that's because they've sold the place. They are, however, looking to build a new house in the future that is better suited for a bed and breakfast as well, so that's pretty exciting to see them expanding their little business model there, so keep your eyes peeled for that. That pretty much wraps up my vlog about Nelson. A lovely place, lovely people. I'd love to go back there in the near future, but just to wrap things up, I've got a few facts about Nelson, just to give you guys a little bit more of an insight. So first up, Nelson isn't actually named after Nelson Mandela just because it's been around for longer than he was. However, it is possible that Nelson Mandela was named after Nelson. I don't really know, but you're free to speculate. Secondly, Nelson is the oldest city in the South Island, so I didn't know that, but there you go. It also holds a New Zealand record for the highest amount of sunshine in 1 month and also in a year, so it's the sunniest place in New Zealand. Nelson Airport is the 4th busiest airport in New Zealand, which you wouldn't really be able to tell when we were there. It seemed quite nice and relaxed, except for the ladies at the Jetstar counter constantly yelling if anyone was going to Auckland and everyone looking like they really didn't want to.
Nice. Nice work.
Nice.
You must be proud.
Oh, yes.
That's all I have for you today. Look, I'd just like to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for stopping by and watching, and I'll see you guys in the near future. I've been Unoriginate. And this is the end of the video.